When I think about the Atlanta Falcons 2021 season, it's not all bad. I predicted they would go 4-13, and they did better than I thought they would. It was year one with a new GM, new head coach, Arthur Smith, and they went 7-10. Remember, Atlanta's in the process of rebuilding, and if it was a year of rebuilding, this was a year of progress for Atlanta. Their second-year corner, A.J. Terrell, played really, really well. I thought he was one of the better corners in the NFL, and no one really talked about it. I'm like, why is A.J. Terrell not getting the respect he deserves? Rookie tight end Kyle Pitts had 68 catches for 1,026 yards. Only one touchdown, but he's a stud. I feel good about him. Like, he's really talented and going to be really good for a long, long time. And I want to read a question from the audience. Teddy wrote in on Patreon, as you can do, patreon.com/Zach Schaumler. Teddy said this: "Hey, Zach, I know I'm a biased Falcons fan, but after Brandon Staley's collapse at the end of the year, I fervently believe the best rookie head coach this year was Arthur Smith. This is due to one stat. The Falcons were 7-2 in one-score games. I have a feeling that the spectacular collapses of the past are going to be a thing of the past in a couple years." Was Arthur Smith the best rookie head coach? I don't know. That feels a bit, like, how do you even measure that? I don't know. But certainly Arthur Smith was very, very encouraging, and that is a great stat, which is that, you know, they're getting better at winning these close, important games. And it feels like times are changing in Atlanta, which I really like. And my favorite thing that Arthur Smith did this year, by a mile, is that he fully tapped into the potential of Cordarrelle Patterson. Cordarrelle Patterson is a guy on his fifth NFL team in 9 years. He's 30 years old, 31 in March. He's a guy who was drafted as a receiver by Minnesota. Now, if you look at the Falcons roster right now, he's actually officially listed as a running back. They used him as a running back and as a receiver, and he had the most carries of his career. He had 153 carries for 618 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns. He also caught 52 passes for 548 yards and 5 touchdown catches. So he was used in a very versatile way. And Cordarrelle Patterson was easily the best part of the Falcons offense last year. To me, that's not only a credit to him, his hard work, his athleticism, all the stuff he can do, but it's really a credit to Arthur Smith, Atlanta's head coach, for recognizing the untapped potential. You got to give Arthur Smith credit for the vision he had to go, this guy's really capable. I'm going to use him like he's never been used before. And to look at a guy who's 30, he's definitely not early in his career, and still go, hey, year 9, I can build my offense around this guy. He used his skill set in a way that no one really had before. And it honestly made me very sad because Cordarrelle Patterson wasn't used that way his whole career. I'm like, man, what could have been if a coach had realized this way sooner? And I think part of it is that it's a realization of what he can do. Part of it is the NFL's changing and you're not locked into one position or another, the way you used to be. Now you can be a receiver and a running back hybrid, kind of like Deebo Samuel, kind of like Cordarrelle Patterson. Deebo Samuel gets talked about all the time as a running back receiver hybrid. Patterson does it a ton. Like, it's really like he's the guy in Atlanta that, because the Falcons aren't very good, no one's paying attention, but he did the same thing Deebo Samuel did this year. And again, it was a positive rebuilding year for Atlanta. You've got a young, improving offensive line. You've got a good kicker, Younghoe Koo. He made all of his kicks that were in key moments. I mean, I think the best moment of the year for Atlanta was when they beat the Saints with a last-second field goal week 9. Now, there is one person who doesn't really fit into the Falcons' rebuild, and that would be their quarterback, Matt Ryan. Let me read what Carter wrote in on Patreon. Carter says, is Matt Ryan done? I know he lost Julio Jones, and I didn't watch any of his games, but the numbers would seem to suggest he's on his way out of the NFL very soon. So Matt Ryan, the Falcons quarterback, is 36 years old. 37 in May. And I said it before the season, it feels like Matt Ryan is wasting time. Like he's wasting years of his career at this point by being in Atlanta. It's kind of sad to compare him to Matthew Stafford because we just saw Matthew Stafford request a trade after 12 years in Detroit. He's like, I don't want to be a part of a rebuild. I want to go somewhere that can win. He left and won a Super Bowl after 1 year in LA. Matt Ryan took the opposite approach. He's been in Atlanta for 14 years, and he is what would have happened if Matthew Stafford had stayed in Detroit for the rebuild. I really don't get what Matt Ryan is doing. I don't understand, because public opinion of him is going down and down, and maybe he doesn't care. He's like, I'm rich, I'm happy, whatever. I would worry less about public opinion and more about Matt Ryan doesn't have much time left in his NFL career. Time is the most precious asset you have. I'd love to see Matt Ryan in Pittsburgh or in Denver. Everyone's talking about Aaron Rodgers going to Denver. Well, the Packers have a death grip on Aaron Rodgers. We'll see if that trade can happen. Could Matt Ryan go to Denver? I think they could win there. What about Indy? Indy's really tired of Carson Wentz. Could you trade Carson Wentz for Matt Ryan and maybe Indy could get to a Super Bowl next year? How about Cleveland? All the weapons they have. They just need a quarterback in Cleveland. They need, whether it's Baker or somebody, they need a quarterback to play well for the Browns. And I think Matt Ryan could answer that call very, very well. On a good team, I truly believe Matt Ryan would win a lot of games. Like in Indy with the running game, their defense. It's really sad to see Matt Ryan waste the final years of his career on a rebuilding team. When I look, people are starting to think Matt Ryan, Carter thinks Matt Ryan's done. He's like, the numbers are bad. And I think Matt Ryan is just a guy who's on the wrong team in a city and in a position that he shouldn't be in. And I hope Atlanta is great next year for Matt Ryan's sake, but I don't see them becoming Super Bowl contenders next year. So what are you doing? You're 36, almost 37. You got a year or two left. I would think Matt Ryan would want a Super Bowl ring before he retires. Is he really just like, I'll just, kind of fall from grace and have a mediocre end to my career in Atlanta? I would not want that if I was Matt Ryan. I'd be hungry to win. Unfortunately, I don't think Matt Ryan is going to ask to be traded, but that's what I'm hoping for, because Atlanta's rebuilding. Matt Ryan is not their long-term quarterback. He's not going to be their quarterback in definitely 6 years from now, and I want to see him go somewhere he can win, and I think Atlanta can use the trade to get something for him to help them rebuild, whether it be Carson Wentz could be their new franchise quarterback, or you get a couple draft picks that you leverage into getting a quarterback next year or the year after next. Feel free to comment. I want to hear people's opinion. What did you think of the Falcons season? Did you feel like, I thought it was encouraging. Did you feel that way? How do you feel about the organization as a whole right now? And do you want to see Matt Ryan leave the Atlanta Falcons? Because I certainly do. And no disrespect against Atlanta. It's just that when you have 1 to 2 years left of your career, you cannot waste time on a rebuild. It doesn't make any sense, for Matt Ryan to be there.